Okay, welcome to From the Outer podcast. We've got a bit of a different pod happening today, which is really, really exciting. I'd like to welcome Josh from further north. Josh, how are you?
I'm excited, mate. Look, I've been on the other side of this pod with us, and I'm asking you questions. I'm excited to get on the other side and sit back, relax, and let you do the hosting duties. I'm excited.
Do you know, I actually brought up the last podcast we did because it was very, very funny. The amount of YouTube comments just referring to my breathing.
Yeah, there's a lot of Darth Vader has entered the pod, which honestly, when I was editing, I didn't pick up on too much. I was trying to speed edit, and maybe I should have taken slight more care. But hey, it got the engagement up on the YouTube video, so that's okay.
Yeah, it had hundreds of comments, that YouTube video. So I think, my health, I take like my health took a hit just for the podcast. So I feel like that was a good effort. How is podcast land, Josh? Because obviously I'm running a supporter podcast for a specific team. I assume you get quite a lot of hate. How do you deal with it?
It's a great question, straight off the bat, mate. It's evolved over time, to be honest, because I think when you start something like that, if you went up to anyone on the street and said, do you reckon if you started the pod and people started hating on you, you'd care? And everyone goes, no. But I can definitely tell you, when you put a lot of time and effort into something around your full-time job and people are just being mean for the sake of mean, it definitely does get to you. But then you get through that. You sort of realize that this is going to happen regardless of what you say, what you do. It's just part of being online. And I've chosen to be in the online world for the North Melbourne Football Club. So I've got to understand the requirements of that. It's like, if I hate kids, why would I want to be a school teacher? You know what I mean? It's the same sort of thing. So, look, I don't really care anymore, to be honest. It got to me a little bit, and then I said, you know what? They're listening to me. I don't know who these people are, and they know who I am. So it's all good. I can deal with it. But, yeah, it gets to you a little bit. I won't lie. Also,
I think, you're out there doing something like a service for the supporting community.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there are about 5 North Melbourne podcasts, which doesn't quite make sense to me. I'm going to be honest.
We're big time, mate.
We're lowest supported club in the league, apart from the expansion clubs. And there's like 6 podcasts. There's you guys, there's Shin Boners, there's Hashtag Kangaroos, there's In Clarko We Trust, North Pod. There's just a million podcasts. It's insane. How many people, what are they listening to? They're listening to podcasts all week, these North Melbourne supporters.
I think one thing we can both attest to, Chief, is North Melbourne, there's always content, right? There's always something to talk about. Now, is that good or is that bad? That's in the eye of the beholder, I guess, but there's always something going on, and that means there's lots of people who need to cover that stuff. People love North. North don't have casuals, mate. It's nuffies only down at North Melbourne, and they want their footy content.
I feel like Essendon is like 100,000 nuffies. Which is great.
You have to be sticking by that club, Same with the Blues. I think the Blues are one of those ones where, their fans can get on their high horse a little bit. They're always very excited to go into the season, even though realistically there's no reason to be. And I've had a few conversations with Blues fans recently about, I'm not taking any, crap from a North Melbourne fan. I'm like, we've won 2 flags since your last, mate. Settle down, It's one of the only flexes we've got as North fans, and you've got to make sure you utilise them.
Yeah, the other thing is we don't have strong coteries for people to try and overthrow the board. Although we had, this incident of recent times where there was a quote-unquote prominent group of members who tried to overthrow the board. You know what? I've been doing some thinking about this, Josh, and I actually see it as a bit of a positive thing. And here's why. Every time this has happened, in the last little bit, people have tried to overthrow a board, the club has gone on to success. So if you look at Richmond, the 2017, this is actually a funny story. There was a group of very prominent business people, members, coterie members, whatever, who wanted to overthrow Peggy O'Neill and get rid of Brendan Gale. And they started, it was a big fanfare around it. They actually had a full press conference with about 5 of them there at a boxing gym in Richmond. So really kind of symbolic stuff. We're in for the fight. You know, they had an AGM 2 weeks later, and none of them turned up. and that's kind of like that. That's it's kind of, I find that both simultaneously hilarious and also it's very typical of kind of these people who are trying to overthrow boards because it's all bluster, right? They don't have any actual plans to improve the club. It's just, no, we don't like what's going on now. We don't have alternatives, but we just want to do something.
Yeah, I mean, this has been my whole point, and you've heard this rant many times, Chief, but, you know, I've always been a big Clarkson backer, and I've never really understood a lot of the discourse around it because, as an example, like, every time I hear the media talk about he's under pressure, maybe he should get sacked, have you once heard them talk about who they should replace him with? Because I haven't heard of anybody. You know, it's just get rid of him, but have we thought of that next step? Because I can guarantee you, if we got rid of him and someone else came in and they did just as bad, it's not going to fix anything. You know what I mean? Premier League clubs are the same. They sack managers for fun. You know, Chelsea, Tottenham, United are an example of this. Been rubbish for ages, but they keep sacking people and they wonder why it doesn't get better. Maybe you should stick with someone and get through the bad patch. And I've held back my opinions on this thing about the board a little bit, just because I don't want to come across too harsh. But, you know, to put it as absolutely respectfully as possible, it's like, these prominent members that went to overthrow the board, I wonder how they're feeling now after that round one game. I wonder if they still want all the board gone. I just think you need time and patience. And I saw something last year with North, and I was optimistic after that Pies game in the preseason that I saw some change with the defence. And, you know, if we go on to win 10, 11 games this year, I don't know if those board members will be, those high-end members will be worrying about the board quite as much. Because winning fixes everything. Arsenal fans wanted Stan Kroenke, you know, hung, drawn and quartered in the streets. And then all of a sudden, we're back and no one even knows he exists anymore. And that's a place of absolute utopia for sports fans.
That's like ideal. That's an ideal situation. Is that no one even talks about the board. No one even talks about this, like his internal.
You ever heard about Geelong's board?
Politics.
I haven't.
Oh, I don't know. I wonder about who's like. No one even knows anything about Geelong. You know, it's like the Avengers who run the place. It seems like sometimes they're so good at their job. Although we actually talked about this last week. There was a prominent. He calls himself a philanthropist, but he runs a charity or something like that, and he's siphoned $14 million from this charity to basically put into the coffers of Crown Casino. But part of it is paying for these Geelong players to stay at Crown Casino every now and again. We need those sort of backers. You know?
Maybe we get Eddie Maguire involved, mate. I'm sure he knows a few under-the-table deals and can handle the press a little bit for us. So maybe get the big dog in and we can hand some cash under the table too. I mean, I'm not sure how many fish and chip shops are in North Melbourne, but we could give each player who signs 10% equity in that, potentially. You know, there's not much land in North Melbourne. We can't offer a farm like the Cats can, but I'm sure there's some real estate we can chalk up.
There's some, and this is the thing, right? Let's give him some juicy real estate deals. That's the way to do it, right?
Nice little, Kate, two-better in North Melbourne.
Oh, the two-better is not going to do it for Harry Sheasel. Harry Sheasel needs a 8-bedroom, six bathroom, you know, a compound. Harry doesn't stay in anything but a compound, you know. Kate, let's without further, let's go to the news this week.
All right. I was thinking this week, so I'm going to read out some headlines and then you guys can react to them. Tell me what you think.
This is I like this format, Kate.
Yeah. So first up is Hawthorn scissor lift footage. I have actually seen this footage as well.
What did you think of the scissor lift? What did you think of the scissor lift footage, Kate?
I mean, a beautiful mix of embarrassing and hilarious.
Do you know what? One thing about it is, I think, about this scissor lift is, first off, it's not a scissor lift. It's actually a cherry picker. What? I don't know why people thought it was a scissor lift and not a cherry picker. That was the first part. Well, a scissor lift goes straight up. A cherry picker goes to something and you can, it reaches out over the top of things, goes a little bit higher than a scissor lift most times. The thing for me from this is, like, it's a massive storm. I think it's a massive storm in a teacup, except for the gear that Dylan Moore had on him, right? He's carrying cocaine. Let's all call a spade a spade. He had cocaine and he was affected by cocaine. And I mean, this happens. It's probably a strike on the drug policies. He's been stripped of the vice captaincy. Not much else to see here, mate. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I really like that fact about the scissor lift compared to the cherry picker. This is almost like an alpaca and a llama situation, which I think is really interesting. Yeah, it looks like a fun time. I hope they had fun and it was a good time. But yeah, I do agree. Like they're going too hard. I think the cocaine stuff not good at all. It's not like a Jack Watts situation where he went to Oktoberfest and they were just snorting like a crushed up fisherman's friend. Because when I was Oktoberfest, I did try that once and it's definitely mint. It's definitely nothing else in that. But look. Chill out on the young fellas a little bit. I mean, look, they're role models. They should be better. But then the media's the one that released the footage. We wouldn't even know about that. You go, the kids, bad representation for the kids. Don't release the footage then, Channel 7. You know, that's on you. But, yeah, you can't be getting caught with some substances on you as a professional athlete. And you could hear them in the footage. Oh, it's like the NFL, but Australia's version, you know. Please, it's going to hurt our careers. So, look, they knew they screwed up. Ironic, it's Hawthorn too, which is the club I would expect this sort of stuff from as well, with how they carry on after goals.
Do you know what? Look, don't get me wrong. Coke and a cherry picker, fine. I'm more of a methamphetamines and a scaffolding man myself. Yeah. But you know,
I was going to say that could be our new band, Chief. It sounds like a folk band.
that's just a personal preference, you know. Kate is probably more a scissor lift and a few beers person. I think, you know, she's a bit more low key.
So tame.
Yeah. What's the next headline, Kate?
All right. Next up, Tess Crossley has been seen on dating apps. So I'll read you out this article. Hang on. So she seems to be single and ready to mingle after finding herself in the middle of the marriage breakdown of Lockie and Jules Neal. The 30-year-old mother of one appears to be back on the dating scene. What are we thinking about that?
Yeah, Kate, what was the app? I mean, just for my own personal knowledge. Yeah, the app. It's not Tinder.
This is a good question. I actually don't know. Hang on. Raya, of course.
Raya, there you go. I actually, interestingly enough, I did see something on Raya during the week. Apparently, it's sort of Channing Tatum gets on there. Ben Affleck has been on there in the past, and now Tess Crossley, the home wrecker, if you will. Although she had her own home, which she also wrecked, so it's a home wrecker times two.
Double wreck. Yeah.
It's
almost a pile up at this point.
Yeah, it's a classic double wreck. And Tess Crossley, which she's been known for her revenge bikini. Yeah. Actually, it wasn't even a revenge bikini. It was a response bikini, wasn't it, Kate?
Well, she's using this revenge bikini pic on her profile.
Okay. That's wow, incredible. Do you rate it?
Oh, absolutely, 10 out of 10.
Oh, there you go. I wonder, you know what? They don't let sort of plebs like myself on there, so I would never know about it.
Mm. Oh, do you have a revenge bikini, Chief, by any chance? Are you out the pod if anything happened?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to get on the peptides.
A revenge speedo could be a good option as well.
Yeah, budgie smuggler for sure. Yep. Yeah, budgie smuggler.
We got the options.
So look, the other thing I was going to point out about this is, you know, when you've made it as a football club, when you have legitimate scandals like this. You know, like Brisbane Lions are a legit football club now. They fell down for a little bit of time in between that dynasty, but they're back. You know, I'm just waiting for North to have one.
This, Chief. Are the headlines quite the same?
Yeah, I mean, two-time Brownlow medalist versus a player who is in the form of his life. He's in the form of his life, but no, I don't think there would be many turning over to page 38 or whatever it would be in the Herald Sun for Dylan Stephens, that's for sure. Yeah, what's next, Kate? What else have you got?
All right, arguably a more footy-related one. Magpies are pledging to completely subsidise the reserve seat cost for all the remaining GA seats on levels 1 and 3 at Marvel Stadium. That's for the GWS game next Friday.
Yeah, this is I saw this and I was like, look, Collingwood have stupid amounts of money. We know that. We did see also they were, I don't know if you, Kate, caught this, mate, but they were actually sending letters to members who were kind of over 85 saying that you can leave money to Collingwood Football Club in your will. Did you see that?
I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, well, Josh, have you seen it?
Absolutely, yes, I saw that. Yeah, that's. I mean, once again, almost like with the Hawthorn players getting caught with coke, it's nothing I wouldn't expect from the Collingwood Football Club. You wouldn't see, a bottom four club doing something like that. It's only the rich would be brave enough to message their members something like that.
So think about at least they're putting back. So apparently they're $3 pies. They're going to be $3 pies. Okay. $8 mid-strength. So, I mean, $8 mid-strength still isn't great, but I mean, it's a start, you know what I mean? I like the fact that they're trying to get things going. I mean, we know they hate Marvel. That's probably why they're really cutting the cost of these tickets. You know what? The other thing about this is there's been a lot of controversy about these fully ticketed games. Not a big deal if you're a North fan because we never have fully ticketed games, but basically what's been happening is they've been saying they're a sellout early in the week, and lo and behold, 70,000 people turn up to the MCG, which is completely ridiculous in my mind. And I've actually talked to some Collingwood fans about this, and they're absolutely livid about the whole thing. So hopefully it's a little bit of a way of Collingwood giving back. Fingers crossed. That's
all right. Next up, Zach Merritt contemplates Essendon extension.
Yeah, see, Josh is going to have a big say about this one because Josh absolutely hates the Essendon Football Club.
Well, look, I can't say they're my favourite football club out there, that's for sure. Let's just lead off with that. I mean, look, I'm a millennial. I don't usually use these words, but I have to use a culturally relevant word right now. And I think Essendon may be simping for Zach Merritt. I mean, this almost ties in with the Lachie Neale situation where, you broke up, but then you kind of like, what's the go here now? Do you want each other? Do you not want each other? It's all scandals and that sort of stuff. It's not that Lachie Neale's getting back with his partner, but more like there's a lot of things in this relationship that aren't adding up. And it just stinks a little bit now, to be honest. I think Essendon throwing a contract extension in front of him is madness, but once again, it is the Essendon Football Club, so logic isn't exactly their forte. I think, I guess for Merritt, it is what it is because he locks in more money and then you can just whinge your way out again if you want to try that. But it doesn't make much sense to me, but once again, it's the Bombers and Brad Scott, who we're very familiar with, Chief.
Yeah, we are, and I don't know has he had a complete change of heart, or is he just like, just show me as much money as possible? Like, if you rock up with the money, you know what, we could be bottom fourth for the next 5 years until my career ends, and I'm just going to be like, whatever, I'm just here for the money, basically.
I'm excited for his speech when he signs it, right? I'm excited for the first press conference he does when he signs it and says, I love this football club, I'm Essendon through and through. And he'll just give you the most media answer you've ever heard in your entire life, and everyone will be like, what? And then it's just going to fade into the abyss.
He did get rid of his manager, Tom Petroro, and Tom Petroro put on some of the most unimpressive efforts during trade period that I've ever seen. He was like a bloke that you meet in one of those old Greek cafes, and he's just got the huskiest voice. He's had 45 cigarettes that day.
Cash deals.
He's had 45 darts, yeah. Cash deals only. He's had 8 espressos, and he just will sell you, down the river if it means that he can get that extra little bit of cash. And
so they should have put Merritt on Facebook Marketplace. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, is this still available? That's what the Hawks are doing now. Is this still available? Question mark. And then Essendon have left them on red.
Yeah, wow.
Kate.
All right, next up, Tassie playing the first game of VFL.
Yeah, this is interesting to me because this happened obviously with Gold Coast and happened with GWS. That Tassie are playing in the VFL this afternoon. Now, Josh, this is the reason why I left this in is because obviously you are a very proud Taswegian. How do you feel about this?
How good, mate. I was at the barbershop today doing my best work, but then everything had to stop because I knew Tassie was playing their first game. We found out all their games are going to be on 7 and 7+. So we put it on. I saw their first goal. It was exciting. They sold out North Hobart Oval as well, which is fantastic. I'm up and about. Now, there has been some criticism online for the Tassie football team that, they're saying, this is our first goal. It's not, because they played in 2008 and before that. So this is almost like what the Seattle Supersonics might be in a couple of years in the NBA. They've rebirthed this franchise. Is it their first goal? I don't know. But regardless of what you think about that, very, very exciting. I love the Tassie football team. They'll be my second team. I want them to win every game bar North Melbourne games. I hope we absolutely obliterate them. But other than that, I'm fully back in this team. And the state wants it, mate. The the overwhelming support for this team in Tasmania is there, and to sell out the VFL game, it's a massive tick to start.
So exciting for exciting for the league, exciting for the state. I'm super excited for everybody involved. Obviously, when North plays them, North will be reigning 2-time champion of the league. So we will flog them, but that's okay as long as they don't get Colby McKercher. We'll be happy. Kate, let's go to the games. So the games, Josh, look, we're actually doing this on a Saturday. Pet's done the old stitch-up job on us once again. So he told us at 3 a.m. this morning that he couldn't make it. So we're just doing what we can here. So we, I don't know if you caught much of the footy, but I will start with Sydney versus Hawthorn on Thursday night. Josh, did you catch this game?
I saw a little bit of this. I tipped the Swans in this one. I even regardless of Heaney and Goulden being out, I really like what the Swans are dishing up. I think they're going to be a very, very good team. And once Goulden does come back just before finals and hopefully is fit enough for finals, I think they are a contender. Hawthorn still haven't overly impressed me. They did run away with the game a little bit towards the end and sort of broke the game open. They did have a lot of scoring shots as well, so they probably should have won by a bit more. But I think Swans fans can watch that with arguably their two best players out and be pretty happy dishing that up interstate against a Hawthorn team that can get hot, as we know. Credit to the Swans in that one. I think they did everything they could, and it makes me confident they're going to be a good team going forward.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's two things to come from this game. And the first thing is that first quarter was some of the fastest football I've ever seen. That was, it was end to end. It was just running. And it's one of those things where they can't sustain that for an entire game. Like you just can't. One team has to lock down at some point. And they ended up just easing back in the second quarter because everyone was so gassed. I'd love to see the GPS numbers for that quarter. They would have been through the roof. The second thing is, this is the third game that we've seen Charlie Curnow in, and it's the third game where I've been, to be completely honest, very underwhelmed with Charlie's form because obviously he's gone up there with a lot of fanfare. They gave up a lot for him. He was looked at as their saviour. Yeah, they've really struggled for key position players since Buddy's left. They're surviving on a diet of Amati and Logan McDonald. They'll leave you hungry every single time if that's what you're surviving on. And so the thought was coming into the season that Charlie would really, have a really big season, get back into that top 10 player in the comp sort of status. But really, he's looked fairly mediocre. And if you needed him to step up for a game, this would have been the one, right? They're down Heaney, they're down Goulden. You really need that kind of 5 or 6 goal game from Charlie to stamp his authority on it, and that didn't happen. And not that they think they'd have buyer's remorse because they're in it for the long term, the Swans, but I think they themselves would also be a little bit disappointed in his form early in the season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I look at the Saints, right, and I'm not overly surprised that they haven't looked quite as good off the bat. I think you need time to bed in, and I think it might take half a season of football for them to click as a hypothetical. And, there's two sides to this. I think Curnow has played so much football, and he's almost that perfect piece to plug into the Swans and what they had, and you would think he was ready to go. He's getting shots on goal, he is... He's just not kicking quite well enough. Anyway, I think he'll be fine eventually. I trust him and his ability just to play the game in that Swan system. Once those guys are back in the midfield, I think they'll be okay. But you're right, no, you're spot on take where I think they would have been wanting more, especially with the big games that they had to kick off the season with. But I do think second half of that year they'll be fine, and when the run into finals comes, they'll be right there. But yeah, it's a good take off the bat. I haven't heard many people saying that about him.
We were actually at one point trying to set up Kate and Charlie Curnow, but it didn't end up in the end. Kate used to go to the same cafe as him.
I did see him around Carlton.
Yeah, he's a very tall, handsome fella. But
I went to that game and I didn't even realise he was playing. So that's how much.
Oh.
Wow! Who is he? Yeah, that's right. I mean, Ed Curnow might be available as well. It's the better Curnow.
The second game last night. This was a real game of football. This one, Bulldogs versus Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. First game at Adelaide Oval for the year. Adelaide, fresh off their win against Collingwood, they look pretty good in that game. Bulldogs obviously on a tear at the moment, playing really well. So it was a good time for these two teams to play. Perfect night for football. And you know what? I mean, the end. I thought kind of halfway through the third that the game was pretty much over. I didn't think Adelaide had enough firepower, but they suddenly just started moving the ball a lot quicker. And it's almost as though if you move the ball into the forward line when you've got the weapons that they do, if you move it fast, you'll actually score. And then they realised that, and then they just put a clinic on for 20 minutes. They kicked 5 or 6 in a row. And then the Bulldogs were down by 6 points leading into with 5 minutes to go and end up, I mean, the end of this game, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it because there's a few critical plays. Number one, Bont with an incredible crumb handball to Bailey. Anyway, forgot Bailey's second name. And he, Bailey Williams,
Dale?
sorry. Bailey Williams, not the
Where have we got Bailey Dale from?
Yeah, he's a halfback for Western Bulldogs as well.
Okay, sorry, wrong Bailey.
Exactly. So
Bailey's now is like the Josh of the 90s, you know?
Yeah, for sure, or the Matt of the 80s.
Matt, yeah.
And then so that's the leveling goal, and then Oscar Baker, of all people, one of the just biggest battlers you'll ever see. He's played I think he's just played 50 games, and he's been in the league for like 10 years. It's completely insane. He snapped one from the boundary, which was just insanity. Went straight over the umpire's hat, and then the Bulldogs just saw it out after that. What did you make of this game, Josh?
Two very good teams playing off in a big fixture. I rate the Crows. I'm not quite as down on them as other people think. After their finals performance, obviously bowing out, without much of a fight, but I'm backing them to come back bigger and stronger. How many times have we seen a team make the finals for the first time in a long time, not quite do it, and then they go on to have success? And I think the Crows will do that. I like the Crows. And they're still missing some key defenders as well. So, they're going to get better. But the Dogs are just, they're red hot. Like, I'm trying to think of a team that I can remember in the last few years that's maybe not come out of nowhere, but like maybe had the jump from such a mid-table team in the Dogs, always sort of challenging for 8, but just being behind the 8 ball, to exploding like they've exploded. They're fast, they're physical, and their defence is holding up relatively well, which was always the question mark, similar to a North Melbourne. So, they've got all the tools. They look really, really good right now. Things can change, but it was the equivalent in the AFL of a heavyweight fight. I think these two, to me, feel like they're going to be going deep into the season and playing in September. So it's good to have a game like that early on that's not just like your typical Collingwood plays someone or Geelong. And, I like that we've got two teams that aren't just the typical MCG ones that have played a fantastic game of footy at a different location. I think I rate both those teams. They're going far this year, I reckon.
Oh, for sure. I think that last quarter, when Adelaide went on their run, that hill at Adelaide, it gets absolutely packed with fans, and it just goes ballistic. It's such a good visual to see on the TV. I think Adelaide will win their fair share of games. Our worry for Adelaide is, like it always has been, what are they doing in the mid? Do they have enough midfield power to challenge the best teams? And funny, Josh, it's almost the opposite of North. North have too many midfielders that they then try and make half forwards, and then Adelaide have too many half forwards that then become mids. Like, they've got all these guys like Neil Bullen, Rankin, Rochelle, Saligo, Keys. Like, they all go through the midfield, and they're all just forwards, and they're not like.
Yeah, I don't know. You see that with other teams, though, right? Like, look when De Goey goes in the middle, or Bobby Hill went in the middle for the Pies, or now Cozzy's gone into the middle, and now we're a forward. Like, clearly there's some sort of dynamism about these players, and I don't think it matters quite. Like, half forwards and half backs are basically midfielders at this point in the AFL the last 5 years, and they've got size. And when they play, I tipped the Crows last week against the Pies, mainly because I think the Pies' kryptonite is a physical midfield. It's a big physical midfield, which is what the Crows have. And I just think, yes, you can get the ball on the outside and be very, very skillful like Collingwood can do. But when it's a dogfight, I just don't back the Pies in that scenario. So the Crows, maybe that midfield rotation being quite high as well is going to keep them very fresh through the middle. Maybe that's why they can bully their way out of the middle a lot as well, is because they've got high rotation. So, look, it might be a little bit orthodox by the Crows, but it seems to work. I mean, they were the best team all last year, and obviously disappointing finals, but they were at the top of the ladder. So clearly they've found a formula. Like relating it to North is interesting because North have a lot of just specialty mids, but I wouldn't say we've got heaps of bullies, and I don't think we've got heaps of outside players. A lot of our players are sort of tweeners where they can do a little bit of everything, and if they're turning it on, we look great, and if they don't, we don't. So, good on the Crows. Bully someone and get the ball out and hack it up forward and let some of those big, tall timbers up there mark the bully.
So last thing is I just saw that Gold Coast. Kate, can you just check what's going on with the Gold Coast game? When I left, Gold Coast were just doing it fairly easily against Richmond.
60-odd when I saw
and I did see Lynch did his hammy. So
Petrarca as well. And
yeah.
And there's someone else for the Tigers, Lynch and someone else. I can't remember.
I mean, Josh, when are North playing the Tigers? Because they're playing.
Round 6.
Playing them. Yeah. So I mean, it's round 3 now. That could actually have implications for our game.
Potentially. It depends what they've done.
So Gold Coast won, miles ahead, 128-60.
Okay, fair enough. That's actually not a bad effort from Richmond, to be fair.
They were good first half. We had it on at the barbershop. They were good first half, and then second half Gold Coast turned it up and just pulled away.
Let's go to low-key cooking. Josh, what have you got for low-key cooking, mate?
Low-key cooking. All right. I've written down some of my answers here because I did some prep. And
how good's that?
Look,
you're already ahead of Pet. You're already ahead of Pet because Pet just rocks up like
you are.
He rocks up and he's like stressed out, and you go, okay, do you have it? Have you prepped? He goes, what? Anyway, go for it, Josh. Hit me with your low-key cooking for this week.
Well, so I've gone some football and some not. Okay, but
perfect. They're the best ones. That's the best one. Yeah.
So, but my main one here is my football related one is the thing that's not getting talked about enough is North Ball, mate. It's North Ball. Now, all I've heard is Port Adelaide were rubbish. We made them bad, mate. North Ball is here, I believe. I just don't think we've got quite enough credit for what we dished up. We beat them comprehensively. We were better from start to finish. It's the way we played. It's the defence that we did bring on the day. And all I'm hearing is how bad Port were. And I expected this because we're North and no one really cares, and I understand that. But realistically, mate, we pummeled them on the day, and I don't think I haven't seen Lordo in front of that gigantic screen on the Sunday Footy Show pointing out things, and that's what I want. That's what I want for my content for the week.
To be fair, he did point out the Simpkin one, right?
He did point out the Simpkin one, yeah, but, mate, I was ready for a 5 to 10 minute segment on it. They're leaving me hungry. Well,
maybe that's for round 4 when we beat the Blues. But we'll see how that goes. What else have you got, Josh? What have you got non-football?
Well, for low-key cooking, that was the answer that I'm bringing. But there's some other segments that I've been briefed on that I've got some non-footy related things to rant about.
Okay, cool. So my
we
low-key...
only expect one, to be fair.
Yeah.
I can find some stuff at the top of my head if you want.
I like to bring a lot of low-key cookings to the table. Because I want people to get shout-outs, man. Like, if they're doing a good job. I think my first one is after that game last night, Buku Kamas. Buku Kamas played an incredible game. Buku's come from being a backup ruckman to being like almost like all-Australian squad-level backman. Really impressive. Really, really impressive by Buku. And we knew he had it in him, because he's so athletic, but he's just putting it all together now. So we're very, very happy with that. The other thing I will put out there is, look, a lot of people get annoyed at Easter sort of promotions, right? Christmas ends, and then it's like straight into Easter. And this is what you get for living in a secular society, Kate, in my opinion. We're kind of this Anglo-Christian society that we are, rightly or wrongly. But the thing that is most impressive to me is the quality of hot cross buns out there. A hot cross bun, it does not get better than a hot cross bun done in the oven, fresh, and then you open it up, little bit of butter on there. Do you know what I mean?
Are you reheating in the oven or baking them?
No, I'm reheating them in the oven.
Okay.
I'm not baking. I don't bake them. I'm not.
Scratch,
I'm not. Yeah. How good do you think I am?
I also think that underrated. I like a hot cross bun, but I also quite like cold cross buns, and just the butter doesn't soak in so much.
Oh, so you have it in there like a wedge of cheese
Like a
on there.
sandwich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, there you go. You heard it here first, folks.
That's
Get
a hot take.
get that wedge of butter on there, huh?
Yeah.
You know,
I agree with
coronary
that, actually.
disease.
Almost cheese level butter is
Yeah,
a great
yeah,
shout,
yeah.
actually.
You want that coronary artery.
You need all the
problem.
food groups. Let's get our protein and hit our macros for the day. Let's lather up that butter.
What are we doing here, Josh? This is one of my favorites.
Hang on,
This
can I do
Oh,
a
no.
can I do a one?
Sorry, sorry, Kate.
I
Apologies. Go
actually
for
have
it.
a good one. I wanted to
Ooh.
ask you guys. Have you heard of Wordle?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you heard of Warple?
Yes.
Yes.
Has everyone heard of Warple?
Well, he's kind of a mediocre midfielder for Geelong, right?
Well, well, you might think that, but there's now a game that Hannah was telling me about in the week, and it's not just a Hawthorn game, it's a whole AFL game, but it's basically you get a silhouette of a player, and every round, I feel like you guys would be very good at it, but I was hoping that we'd be in the room this week so that we could play and see how good you are, but we'll have to, maybe I'll test you and Pet next week.
Okay, we'll do it next week.
It's a bit of an elimination. You have to basically guess based on just a silhouette what player it is.
We've
That's
played
so
this at
much
the
fun.
barbershop before. We used to have a desktop computer at the shop, and before each shift, we would play Warple. There was some crazy ones that got thrown up. I remember. I don't know if there was that one, and then there was another guessing game out there that they just gave you some stats. And I remember once they were talking about. You could pick like AFL legends or current players, right? So we were like, let's test ourselves out on one of these, and we picked legends, and they give you some stats. They gave us the silhouette, and I think each time you guess, they give you another clue, if I'm not mistaken. And it said Essendon player played 300 odd games or something like that, and I'm thinking Essendon 300 games played between these years, and it was James Kelly, who was an Essendon player for about a year when they had the drug scandal. And I'm thinking, I was never getting that.
That's just rude. That's just rude.
I felt misled. I don't think that's on me.
Essendon legend James Kelly.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you have another one, Kate?
No, that's my one.
Okay. What are we doing? So we'll go to that next week. That'll be fun, actually. We'll get that going. What are we doing here, Josh? What have you got, mate? Just wind yourself up, man. Wind yourself up.
I've come with some heat today because I'm
Come off the
pretty pissed
long
off
run.
about something. Yeah, look, something that grinds my gears that I've been on about for a while is the weather report. I know that this is a different thing these days with, we don't consume it on Channel 7 every single night, but when I have watched the weather report, it's on the TV or something, two things really grind my gears about this. Don't give me how many mils of rain there are. I don't know what that means. That doesn't give me any indication if I need gumboots, an umbrella, it's a light drizzle. I don't know how much 15 mil of rain is. And I know I'm not questioning the meteorologists, and that's an actual term they use. But if you're delivering it to the people on a public platform, you need to put it in terms that I can understand. All I want to know is if I need to wear, gumboots, wear pants, an umbrella. Tell me what I need to bring. Is it going to be really wet, a little bit, or not much? That would be a much better scale for the common man than 15 mil of rain. I don't know what that means. It really gets to me. And then the other thing that gets to me about the weather, don't give me it's 30, but it feels like 35. As far as I'm concerned, weather is a feeling. Temperature is a feeling, right? If it feels like 35, but it's 30, it's 35 degrees because that's what I'm dressing for. That's where I bring the jacket, the scarf, the T-shirt. I just don't understand. They're throwing out a lot of meteorology rubbish that no one understands. Yeah, you're smart, you've got a degree, that's cute. But the common man doesn't relate to any of that at all. Don't give me it's 30 degrees in it, but it feels like 35. It's 35 because weather and temperature is a feeling. So this has got to me for years. I've honestly been, I'm even getting upset now even thinking about it. Don't give me 15 mils of rain. Don't tell me it's 30 when it feels like 35. Rubbish. I'm over it.
Yeah, dumb it down for people. I was saying to Kate, I've said this to Kate probably every week. Give us wet bulb temperature. Okay, wet bulb temperature takes into
I don't
account
think you've
everything.
ever said that to me.
Takes into account everything. Wet bulb temperature, folks. That's what
I
you
do
want.
agree though, because I literally said this week to someone, I was like, "How much is 3 milliliters?"
I don't know. No one knows. I don't even think Jane
Well-
Bunn knows.
Yeah, Jane Boone doesn't. She just presents it, man. Like she doesn't. I don't think she's got an intrinsic. Well, maybe
She's
she
just
does.
the
Maybe I'm
vessel
selling
to
her
get it
short.
from the meteorology station to the
Maybe
people.
I'm selling her short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kate, do you have another one, Josh?
Well, no, that were the. I was
That's
sort of a
pretty
two
good.
in one there, where I was like,
Yeah,
look,
nice.
I wanted to go on about the Mills of Rain, and then I wanted to go on about the temperature being wrong. I've got a 2 in 1 there for you, but I've lost the plot already. I'm actually really upset right now.
Kate, what have you got?
Okay, mine's about drivers.
Ooh.
You guys might have done this. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't do it because it irritates me.
We're talking about driving, not golf drivers. Like
No,
you get
sorry,
a
I'm
golf
talking
ball.
about people in cars.
That's what my brain was.
So I went on a run this morning. It often happens mostly when you're running, right? Or walking, actually. And running, you make an effort because you're seeing a car's turning right and you make an effort to stop. You've already stopped and the car goes and they stop. And then they hurry you along. And it's like, it is more effort for me to now get myself moving again and you to also slow down, wait for me. You're already moving. I'm already stopped. Fucking go. It pisses me off so much. And then they kind of hurry you as if like you're the one inconveniencing them. So yeah, that's what are we doing here?
It's always a European car as well, Kate. It's always a
Does
European
it
car.
happen to you
It's
though? Do
always
you know
an
what I
Audi.
mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's always an Audi. I'm telling you, it's always an Audi or a
A
Beamer.
Volkswagen.
Yeah, a Volkswagen.
Volkswagen.
Yeah, for sure. I
That's
agree,
so
Kate. It's really, really annoying. Yeah, I've got two really ones that are really pissing me off at the moment. We've just gone through our opening round and first round of the AFL season. Why are we having so many buys? Why are we having buys? Why is there 18 days between Hawthorn playing and then playing their next game? Whose idea was that? Is it Dylan? Is that son of a bitch Dylan, or is it Laura Kane, or is it Greg Swan? Whoever it is at AFL House, stop with the round zero now. You tried to do it when the NRL went to Vegas, and then you stuffed up the date because the NRL came back, and then you just had the round when the NRL was on, right? Because you're idiots. You didn't read the friggin' calendar. And then you try and do this round zero again to give the Northern States clean air, right? Okay, you could do the same thing. Just play the Northern States games, the first 4 games of the round, and then have the rest in Melbourne. It's not hard. And then you just don't have as many crazy buys. That's the first thing. Second thing, Northeast Link. Northeast Link. Now, here's the thing about Northeast Link. I've a little bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, Josh, is looking at Facebook community groups.
Okay.
Because for anybody out there, and there are a few people out there that listen to the podcast, it is a shit show in there. These groups. It is the absolute bottom rung of society who hang out in these groups and complain about everything constantly. But the recent one has been the Banyule community group, community page, complaining about the Northeast Link. Now, the Northeast Link is just a shit show generally, obviously. The Eastern is constantly changing. You can go there one day and, it's 80, and then the next day it's 45, and then it's all over the place, right? And it's really, really annoying, particularly for people like you, Josh, who are out in the East. But the recent one was I don't know if you've seen this, but Northeast Link, the tunnelling caused a sinkhole in Banyule. And so the forward flank of one of the Banyule football grounds, there's basically a 10 by 10 hole.
Oh no!
That they've had to fill in.
They have to play with 16 on the field now.
And they've literally taken 6 months to fill this hole in. Can you believe that? So that's the first thing. That was brought to my attention by the community page. But the other thing is that there is bubbling in the Yarra at this same area, right? So there's bubbling that's coming up, and people are assuming that this has got to do with the Northeast Link. And there's all these, every single day there is a post on this Banyule community page about the bubbling that's coming up.
Well, this has sort of sparked my memory on something here. Like, if you think bubbling is bad, spare a thought for our friends in the Netherlands, because they've got a very big crayfish problem apparently in the canals. And the crayfish, eating the canals away and all of the structuring there. And a lot of the foundation is apparently getting very, very weak and a bit suspect for these people, because I've got a friend called Suzanne who lives in a town called Alkmaar, and hopefully I pronounced that right with the k. But she lived right on a canal, right? A really nice spot. You know, when I was over there, went to stay with her, and I was like, your house is so nice. And she's like, yeah, until it falls down, because the crayfish are eating away all of the canals. So I would nearly say bubbling is a good problem to have compared to the crayfish, just to bring ourselves back down to earth here, because at least we don't have crayfish eating all of our... and there's a weird albino kangaroo population over in the Netherlands too, but that's a whole other story.
So here's the thing. That's what are we doing here? Why aren't they eating these crayfish, man?
Well,
Like,
they've
crayfish
started
is
to.
delicious.
So they've started fishing these crayfish out of the rivers and starting to eat them. So, you know, they're going to start hitting up some of them American-style crawfish boils.
Ooh, see, that's what I'm
and that
talking
sort of
about.
stuff. So get over for some Dutch crayfish, guys. I think
See, that's
that would be and do your part for the Netherlands, because if you get over there and eat all the crayfish, you're helping their society.
This is what make the best of a bad situation. That's what I've always said. Eat those crawfish, man. Let's go to When Harry Met Shaki, Kate. Do you have a When Harry Met Shaki?
Me, I don't.
Yeah. Okay. So just the background to When Harry Met Shaki, just for Josh's benefit, is that we ended up having this idea about AFL related films, right? And we'd come up with these ideas. Now, one of our great listeners, Tony, came up with the idea of so we had this idea when we wanted Harry Mackay to teach Josh Shaki how to kick, right? Because Josh Shaki's
You want Harry Mackay to do that?
well, more so we wanted Harry Mackay to teach Josh Shaki just how to play the game of AFL football.
This is Harry Mackay a few years ago, though, right?
Yes, this is Harry Mackay, Coleman medalist, right? And we were saying, because Shaki he's like allergic to the Sharon. Like if you remember, Simon Goodwin had him as sub and didn't bring him on the ground in a final.
It's crazy, yeah.
That's Shaki. So anyway, one of our listeners, Tony, shout out to Tony, good man, Essendon man, but still a good man. He came up with this idea. He goes, it's like when Harry met Sally, it's when Harry met Shaki, right? That would be the encounter. So that's why we came up with the idea of When Harry Met Shaki. Now, so it's AFL related movie ideas. Josh, what you said? You tell me that you've got one.
Yeah. So instead of the Conjuring, I've got the Combining.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, because sometimes North's backline is very scary, but yet we sit there and we watch it all the way through anyway. And look, even though it can be a bit of a horror show sometimes, if there's a sequel, I'm going to be there, and if there's a part 3, I'm going to be there. So instead of the Conjuring, I've gone with the Combining because, yeah, I love you, Charlie Combin. You're my favourite player ever, but sometimes you scare me a little bit.
Also good for a jump scare, the North backline.
Well, when you see Charlie Combin walking away from a contest holding his shoulder, that is a jump scare.
Very much so. My one this week is my big fat Meek wedding. So basically, Lloyd Meek gets married to Sydney Sweeney.
Oh,
and the problem
well done,
is,
Lloyd.
Yeah, well done. Lloyd's a good-looking guy. And he's pretty jacked as well. Basically, that she goes to meet Lloyd Meek's family, and they're just all massive people. And hilarity ensues. You know, it writes itself. This stuff really.
It does. It reminds me of the scene in How I Met Your Mother when Lily goes to visit Marshall's family and they're all giants in Minnesota. So maybe that could make a whole movie surrounding that. I mean, Sydney Sweeney at the moment, you know, doing well at the box office. You know, lingerie line is out. You know, if maybe we can get her over to the AFL and see if she can. We can try and recruit her as a North fan. I mean, we'll see what we can do. But I guess it's got to be Hawthorn now, doesn't it? But almost like a Hemsworth sitting up in a box. Can we get a Sweeney in the box at a Hawks game? That would be very, very entertaining.
Well, she did the whole Sydney Swans thing, if you remember, a little bit ago. That
doesn't seem like it was that seems like a one-time thing to me. It didn't seem like there was substance there. I don't think they had the connection straight away, and she may have got a little taste of AFL football, but I think she's ready for commitment now.
And you meet all these absolute also-rans like Ollie Florent and Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward. And also, who else you got there?
You mean
Errol
ex-Boston
Goulden.
Celtic Utah Jazz player Gordon Hayward?
Yeah, mediocre player, right? She's meeting all these guys. I mean, that's embarrassing. She could have come down and watched North. She's meeting, guys
Could it
like
be Sydney Sheezy?
Oh, that would be unbelievable.
A power couple.
Yeah, she could meet. I think he's actually single now, Harry Sheasel. But she could meet Tomas Blamires.
Wow, yeah.
She loves that
you
Portuguese
could say it's
sort of.
Tomas Blamires, and
Yeah.
and she goes, "Oh, a tall, dark, handsome, coastal man," and then walks in and goes, "Oh, that's just the most typical Aussie ever." But hey, the Aussies have a great reputation overseas for charisma, looks, and accent in general. I mean, when I stayed in a hostel over in the UK, and there was obviously people from all over the world, and being the token Aussie in a place like that is fantastic. So, I think Sweeney and Blamires would be a match made in heaven.
Yeah, but I like Sydney Sheasel. That makes a lot of sense to
Sydney
me.
Sheezy.
Yeah, Sydney Sheezy. Kate, I can tell Kate is in on this. I think Kate loves the idea. Okay, well, look, I reckon that'll do us today, Josh. Thanks for joining us, mate. Really appreciate it. It's good for you to come on our podcast finally. It's been a very, very long time. I don't know how many further norths I've done over the journey. I think maybe it's probably in the double figures now. Yeah.
Oh, you might be coming up to your. You might need a little a banner next time for your 50th pod. I reckon we can get you to run through a banner. Maybe you could coat hang yourself on the way out. Put some suspect tape through there just for the joke. That'd be a fun time.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to do it for the interaction, the likes. I'll do it for the likes. If this video gets 100 likes, I'll do that.
Wow. Well, I'm going to say that on the Further North podcast this week. Get over to the video, get 100 likes, and watch Chief Coat Hanger himself on a banner for his 50th pod appearance.
Do we want to do predictions for the rest of the weekend?
Yeah. We'll just quickly do that, Kate. What have you got? Who have you got?
GWS, I reckon, are gonna beat St Kilda.
If they beat St Kilda, that's boil over territory for the Saints. Yeah,
Right.
Saints are in big trouble if they lose that.
Oh, really?
I actually don't mind it.
Everyone in my league tipped GWS though.
Yeah, I think on form it makes sense, but I do think St Kilda just have too much to lose if they lose this game. The absolute shitstorm that they'll bring on themselves if they lose this would be, it's a problem. It's a big problem.
Then I've got Fremantle. I reckon they're going to beat Melbourne.
Josh, what do you reckon?
I agree, but I'm interested in Melbourne because they looked a lot better and obviously won their game, as did we, but they looked a lot better than I thought they would be. I was tipping them bottom 4 this year. I didn't see it with the forward line and the older midfield and lack of keys down back, but no, King has done a decent job, it looks like there. He's got them drilled fairly well and they've drafted decently over the last few years, so it wouldn't... honestly, like your Saints take, Chief, if Fremantle don't win this game, it's boil over time because I think they're a very overrated list. I tipped them 8th on the ladder this year. I don't think they're any good anywhere except Optus. And if for any reason they didn't win this game, they're frauds. You can lock them in permanent marker on Dan Gorringe's fraud board.
I think, for sure. That is what you've said. It makes 100% sense, and I agree with it. I think the only thing for Freo is I think they're a better football side right now. And I think with all those things that they need to do, that they will win this. Interestingly enough, I did see that Hayden Young did his hammy for the 100th time and is out again. So he just gives that point of difference to their midfield, and I think they're going to struggle. Tomorrow, I think we've got... who have we got tomorrow, Kate? What's the early game? Here we go. Port versus Essendon.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that's close to all of our hearts because we just beat Port and we hate Essendon. So I'm actually really torn on this because I want Essendon, I actually want Essendon to get better so that they get to a point where they can start breaking their fans' hearts again. Does that make sense? Because right now it's just...
They've got to have hope to get it taken away.
Exactly. So this is kind of 3D chess here I'm thinking about. But I actually think that they're both and I'm not saying North has the best list in the world, but what I would say they're both kind of mediocre at the moment. Both Port and Essendon. Port is a heavy favourite, and I think they get the chockies. But geez, I mean, again, boil over territory.
I hope that Port do the job, because that almost validates our win even more as well, and really putting the foot down on them. And I like seeing Essendon lose, so
Yeah, fair enough.
them. I don't have this. I get what you're doing with the 3D chess, and I love where your head's at, but I want the complete opposite result, to be honest.
And Kate, the final one is the final. The final one is West Coast versus North. Who have you got for that one, Kate?
West Coast.
Oh, rude.
That's
Do you know West Coast is at $2.50 in this game? Like obviously it's at their home ground, but geez, that's unbelievable.
Okay, can I just get a reasoning for that? I need to know your thought pattern on tipping the Eagles.
Oh, there isn't a lot. I just know that North aren't very good.
Oh, right. Thanks.
Clearly didn't watch Prime North ball last week at all.
Actually, you're doing well at the moment. Better, right? You won last weekend.
That's probably the best game I've seen us play in about 7 years. Yeah, we were very good.
Well, maybe I should change my tip then.
I would recommend
Maybe.
it, but now I'm going to look stupid if we lose.
All right.
You don't want to know who I'm tipping, Chief?
Who are you tipping?
North, mate.
North by 10 goals.
North by 25. I'm going North by 25.
Okay.
A hostile environment over there. There is more and less pressure in different ways for us over there. I think it's very important we back it up. If we did lose to West Coast by any chance over there, I'm going to be incredibly confused about what I saw last week, when last week was a 4-quarter very consistent performance, and the young guys were the ones that won us that game. So North by 25. We don't smash them, but I think we're on top by 2 to 3 goals most of the game, and maybe get the last couple to blow the lead out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think what I'm looking for is just a 4-quarter performance again, just that consistent effort throughout the game. I think that if you just line the two squads up, like clearly North Melbourne is a better squad. Particularly our forward line is going to be a real big problem for West Coast and what they have down back. So I expect us to kick over 100 points. So,
yep.
Okay, good one, guys. Thank you so much. I've tried to wrap up the podcast 3 times already and I've made so many mistakes. But what we'll do is we'll reconvene next week. Josh, thank you so much for coming down. Really appreciate it, mate. Thanks so much for coming into from the outer sphere, and hopefully we'll have you back at some point in time.
Anytime you need me, mate, you just give me the call up. I'll come running for you, Chief. You know what I'm like.
The bat signal. Yeah, we'll put it up in
that's
the air.
as clingy as Sydney Sweeney will be to Harry Sheezer.
Yes. Topical. Okay, see you guys.
See ya.
Thanks for watching From the Outer Podcast. If you could like and subscribe, it helps us a lot to continue to create all of this amazing content that you know and love. See you next time.